things where it's like, you kind of do it on the rule of cool theory, where it's like, this is I like this, I'm gonna just put it in here kind of thing. Don't look too deep into it. But the way franchises work and studios are like, all right, we need more movies. What else you got?
Isn't there a Predator versus Alien?
Yes, there's another Predators movie that came out within the last 3 years or something. Yeah. I like the one that had the black chick in it, and she ended up teaming up with the Predator to take out the alien and gain the respect of the Predator before he went off onto his planet. And the last scene of the movie is one of the Predator's bodies had an alien in it, and it burst out, and it was part alien, part Predator. Needless to say, they did not talk about that in the most recent Predator movie. Yeah, I guess her name was Sanaa Lathan. I don't know. I just remember there was a black chick that survived the end of a horror movie and gained the respect of the monster.
She's the one, Sanaa Lathan. Didn't she do something to Beyonce's cheek and then almost get beat up by Tiffany Haddish?
Oh, I heard she licked her face or something. The fact that people get as close as they do to Beyonce and be wilding out like they do. I've just heard so many celebrity tales of them getting close to Beyonce and Jay-Z and then making a fool of themselves. It's hilarious.
Well, Sanaa Lathan, it makes sense that Beyonce would let her, because Sanaa Lathan has a very famous director dad who does a lot of stuff or whatever. So if Beyonce wants to keep her good standing in Hollywood, she'll just let her.
I mean, I say all that to say, I just find it hilarious when other celebrities just lose their cool around Beyonce and Jay-Z, because they are just so low key and chill. And everyone's like, oh my God, it's you. And they're just like, it's me. It's it just cracks me up, because they try to act cool and then they just fuck it up so bad. And the Carters don't harp on it. They're not the ones going on interviews and saying, yeah, one time I was hanging out with so-and-so and they did this, that, and the third around me and we're never hanging out again. It's always the celebrities that made a fool of themselves. I did this in front of Beyonce. I should kill myself.
Beyonce and Jay-Z, they're pretty closed in terms of keeping people out of their business, except for when they're ready to talk, be making money from it. I
appreciate that too. I forgot. Their children are probably 15 now or something. I don't know.
No, Blue is 8 or 9 or something.
Okay. Either way, these kids are growing and we would be none the wiser. You don't see no baby pictures. You don't see no updates. You see Blue every so often. She looks so much like her mom. It's adorable to see. She's like a good blend of her mom and Jay-Z. I want to say she has Jay-Z's bone structure, but Beyonce's bone structure is very prominent too. So, yeah,
she's a very beautiful little girl.
She got a strong jaw. That's what I'm saying. Good bone structure. Good bone structure. But yeah, so I don't know. So what's up, Mr. Producer? You want us to go longer, or you want us to wrap it up?
Oh wait, I didn't even say what I'm looking forward to next week.
Oh, okay.
So, oh no, what do you feel? Okay, so I've got so much stuff to do. I need to paint this room. These walls are still white. I'm supposed to be painting them in a color which has already been picked out. Yeah, I still need to paint this room. Need to finish my courses on Coursera, and I need to get some work on Upwork. But I am still looking forward to another episode of Lovecraft Country.
Okay.
Oh, and I think Ruby's going to betray her sister, because, yeah,
I don't know. I can't really call it betraying, considering.
Yeah, I think you're partial to Ruby, and I am just not.
No, because it's Ruby doesn't really have any alliance with her sister outside of just, that's my sister, I don't want to wish harm on her. but she's also very wary of her sister in that she's not always forthright about information. So, you know, what she's trying to do with Christina, I can see Ruby seeing in her eyes, this is not betraying her. Because as far as Christina has told her, all she wanted out of that house was the orrery. Mm. The orrery really has nothing to do with Letty, as far as Ruby knows. It has more to do with Hippolyta, who had it in her house. You know, so if anything, it would be a betrayal to Hippolyta because she's going straight steal it out of her house. But the fact that she even heard Letty talking about it, it's like, here this bitch go again, not telling me certain things. And to be fair, Ruby didn't actually ask Letty about the orrery directly.
Because she's not on the up and up because she plans to betray.
It's not a betrayal if it has nothing to do with her.
Okay, we'll watch the episode and we'll see if it gets played
now,
out.
This is where it would be a betrayal. If Ruby finds out that Letty is pregnant with Atticus's baby, and Christina's like, we need that baby to do X, Y, Z. Then it's a betrayal, because now you turning over, if not your sister and your unborn niece or nephew, or if you turn in Atticus because Christina says they need it. Then it's a betrayal. Right now, this ain't no betrayal happening. Nothing that Ruby's doing with Christina is affecting Letty up until this point.
I predict that Ruby's going to betray somebody. And I think it's going to be, what's her name, Letty?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be Letty.
Again, I can see that happening too. If it meant bettering whatever she's got going on with Christina. But right now, anything that she does is not a betrayal to Letty. She has no alliance to her outside of we got the same mama.
Oh. But you wouldn't betray your sister even though she's a super spreader, potentially.
Define betray.
Well,
am I going to call her apartment building and warn them that she's about to throw a party? No. Right. It's not my business. Ain't got nothing to do with me. There is nothing going on in my sister's life right now that I feel like I need to interfere for the betterment of someone else in her immediate surrounding. Like a betrayal would be if I testified against her in family court and her child's father wanted full custody. And I testified in support of him having full custody. That would be a betrayal because my sister's not necessarily doing a bad job raising her daughter. So for me to advocate for the baby father instead of my sister, that would be a betrayal. On top of which, it ain't got shit to do with me because I still don't see my niece that often, so it don't matter if she's with her mom or her dad. Her time is already divided with the family between my mom's family and my niece's father's family. I see her maybe twice on holidays because she'll spend most of her time at her dad's or just with her mom and, doing the rounds. She'll visit grandma, my mom, for an hour. I already don't see her, so it ain't no skin off my back. I see her in Facebook posts. Or every time I look at my sister, because she looks exactly like her mother.
Aww.
It's not at all. That baby had a cute phase for 9 months before she just morphed into a mini-me of a grown woman.
But your sister's hot though. So is she's cute.
There's hot and then there's cute. I no.
She's cute because she hasn't grown up yet.
No, she's not cute anymore because she has the demeanor of a grown person too. She got that demeanor of a child that don't know to be a child and think they can talk to you like they grown. Yeah, that's my niece. That's not cute. And I talk to her like she's not cute.
Oh.
Because my mom be like, oh, be nice. I'm like, no, she's being annoying. Sit down.
I'm sure you aren't projecting your sister's personality onto your niece because their faces are, from what you say, the same. Nah?
No, they're both annoying in their own rights. She's just annoying in a I'm 5 way. So it's like there's a certain level of leeway I give her in that she is a 5-year-old, in that I know that she's probably not getting the mental stimulation that she ought to have, at least in my opinion, to be a child I don't mind being in my presence for more than an hour. So when I talk to her, I tell her when things she does is annoying me. I don't know if other people have been doing that to her, but I'm gonna let her know. I need you to sit down and stop moving your head because your bees clacking are annoying me.
That's so mean.
It is not mean. It is fact. Because I get it. Kids, little girls, when they get the little bobbles in their hair and they get the beads on their braids, they want to just shut up, Mike. They want to just slap their heads around and they always want to be jumping around and doing all that. But when you're literally just sitting there with your iPad and you just whipping your head back and forth, I'm gonna need you to stop because it's unnecessary. And it's
maybe she needs to just go outside because she obviously feels like moving her body, and that can be good. That's a good thing.
Sometimes, and sometimes I will go outside. I will humor her, and we will go outside, and we will sit on the grass. We'll have a little fake tea party and all that good stuff. And then sometimes I'll just go out, and I don't feel like having to watch her, and she'll be like, I want to go too. I'm like, no, you can't right now. I'm going by myself. If you don't take me, I'm not going to like you anymore. I'm like, you just not going to like me.
She's just stating a fact. Like, that's not a thing.
And I am too. And I'm letting her know that she is free to feel any way she wants to about me, but I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. You know, I respect the fact that, like, when she tells me not to call her PJ, I don't call her PJ. You know, it's like respecting children's boundaries is one thing you should definitely do. They say they don't want a hug from you, don't hug them.
Oh, yeah.
They say they don't want a kiss from you, don't kiss them. If they say,
I really like that's becoming more of a norm to respect the boundaries of children and to not just force your huge self, because you are like you are a titan to these children. Mm. And for her to be adamant and stating like, my name's not PJ, my name, what is my niece's name? Tori. I refer to her as PJ so much that I forget what her name is sometimes. But she will tell you that that's not my name. My name is blah. And I'm like, but I will still slip up and call her PJ, because just trying to just teach her, like, these are nicknames. This is why I'm calling you this. I'm not saying this to insult you. This is a nickname because kids don't know. They just think you being stupid and don't understand that my name is so-and-so. So I make sure to at least integrate both so that she knows that I hear you, I respect you, I am calling you by your name, but me calling you this nickname is like a term of endearment as well. You know, just so she can get used to the both. And if she still decides, I don't like that nickname, stop it, then I will. And I will just refer to her as such, but not to her face. Which sounds backstabby, but it's like, I have a lot of code names for people in my life that they don't even know. Some I don't even use. Like, just in my head, I have nicknames for people that they themselves are not aware of. That's their nickname. I had a friend who changed her name. And it's been hard for me to the point where I've like told her, like, look, when I met you, this was your name. I don't feel like I'm insulting you because it's the name that your mother gave you, and all of us, when we come into this world, we don't get to choose our name. She was like, but that's the point. I chose this other name.
Which is fair. And
he allows me to have the exception. Nobody else is allowed to call her by the name that her mother literally gave her.
And I can see both sides to it. So on the one hand, I totally get it. This is the name that your mom gave you. You know, I think I have a very basic ass name, but out of respect for my mom, I'll keep it. And because I can't think of any other name that I want to change it to anyway that would like feel right. And for people who are like, but this is the name that your mom gave you, that is not justification in my mind for still referring to someone as the other name. The better justification is the fact that, bitch, I've been calling you this name for 20 years. You gotta give me some space to adapt. And
it has been like 22 years since that we knew each other. So
you're gonna slip up. It's like, I'm sorry.
In her life, they met her later once she had changed her name. So she introduced herself as that other name.
Exactly. It's the same. I don't know if your friend is like a trans woman or anything, and that's why she changed her name. Okay. Okay. Yeah, because there's people who are like, I've met a few trans people in my life, and I met them during their transition. So they're going by the gender they want. They're going by the name that they want.
And I have known people who introduced themselves as one way. They transitioned, and then they said like, okay, this is my name now, and these are my pronouns now, and that's fine. But I haven't known you for 22 years, and I understand that this is part of another like major life change for you. This is not the same as like, no, I'm just changing my name.
And it's like,
and I don't understand.
I'm at the point where the only time I really get slipped up when I'm referring to my trans friends is when I have to break it down to other people. Like in my mind, I know that this is a guy. But then when I gotta like unwrap everything for other people, I'm like, yeah, so this is my friend so-and-so. He's a he, but he used to be a she that went by this name. So he's technically a trans male. It's like, I don't even know why.
All of that.
I really hate when I have to go into it like that, but it's very rare, and it's usually to prove a point to people who don't understand the concept. Usually my family, I'll break it down to them because they trust me to break it down for them.
Oh, I haven't had that experience like in real life. So like I have trans friends, but there's like no need to explain any kind of backstory. Like,
right, I don't care. I'm not trying to fuck you.
This is their name.
What's between your legs ain't got nothing to do with me because we ain't about to start a family. So I don't really care about your gender history.
But there are so many things that like was not available in like the general zeitgeist even a few years ago, where like I'll be watching a show with my mom, and what I love about watching things on demand is that she's able to pause, like when she hears a new phrase that she isn't familiar with, she pauses it, and then she just turns to me and says, Fatima, what is a pansexual? Like, and she really is. She isn't really looking to judge. She just wants to know like the information. And so I explain it to her, and then she is like, okay, got it. And then she's like,
that is my mom. When I had to explain, I didn't explain to her, but I told her that Janelle Monáe was a pansexual, and like she couldn't remember the term, and she called it something so stupid. It was so hilarious, like something like, what is she, a potsexual? It's like a pansexual, mom.
Yes.
Pansexual. It'd be she is attracted to anyone regardless of their gender identification or sexuality. She likes them for them.
My mom is really good about learning stuff like that, because like later in the day she'll try to like use it in a sentence. So, like
try to use it in a sentence. Oh my God. But I mean, with my mom essentially having a bi daughter, she has to. And it's not me. Ha! Everyone thought it was going to be me. Look at y'all. Just because I'm open-minded. It's the other one. Yeah. That's what I found hilarious. Because I knew for the longest time that everyone probably thought I was like just closeted lesbian because I hadn't had a boyfriend ever.
And why is that? Why is it like if you go for too long without a significant other, people are like, is it because you're gay? And it's like, well, no, wouldn't that be with the woman? Like, well, that wouldn't make me single. That would make me gay. Yeah.
I'm like, no, did you ever think that maybe people just ain't worth it? You ever think about that? You ever think that like 90% of the people I interact with are ugly?
Or I'm unlucky.
Or not ugly. Let me rephrase that. I'm not attracted to 90% of the people that I interact with. You ever think about that? Like, y'all might be able to compartmentalize and just fuck anything with the right assets that you want to fuck. But for me, it don't work like that.
But do you?
I can like your face, and every time you talk, I want to punch you in your mouth. And we ain't fucking if I want to punch you. I'm not into that kind of impact kink play, all right? Or I could love conversation with you and just not be attracted to your body at all. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
I was to say I might just be what is it? Asexual. That's the one. Might be. Don't know. Or just particular. I'm not sure.
I started to think maybe I watch too much TV and now everybody outside of the TV looks ugly because they don't have like lighting and makeup and plastic surgery.
They don't have lighting. Oh my God. No. I feel that.
I've watched too much TV is the conclusion that I came to on my own for myself. But
no, it's very true. TV has definitely given me an unfair opinion of people, and in general, I find them not very attractive because I've seen better on TV. But
also, if you were to see those people on TV, like, like if you were to see them in real life, you'd be like, what's wrong? What?
I mean, I be seeing like really attractive people on social media. I'm like, you ain't real. What is this? What is this deep fake of a person on my screen right now? Like, people just don't look that good in real life, ever.
And I think it's warping our sense of like what people should look like, which is why I love what Rihanna is doing with Fenty, bringing in some like real looking people into her ad campaign.
Oh my God, did you see her? Did you see the fashion show?
No, I didn't see the fashion show.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. I love her fashion shows. Like, she did the Victoria's Secret fashion show once, and she saw that and was like, this is the most basic, boring white bitch shit I have ever seen. I'm never doing this again. I can do this better. And she did. And I loved it. And I loved the editing. I loved the scenes and the cameos and the music used. So much so that I reached out to the editors. I watched the credits to see who edited this, because this was bomb. There were like 6 editors. One of them was a woman. They had 1 male senior editor, 2 lead editors, and then 4 editors. And of the editors, only 1 was a woman. I reached out to her that night. I was like, look, I don't know if you're the chick that was in the credits for the Fenty show, but I just wanted to say you did a great job on whatever you did, because I love the editing of this. And she actually hit me back. She's like, oh my gosh, thank you for reaching out. I did the teaser trailers. I was like, oh my God, great job. You should stay in contact. I don't know if I'll ever will be in California at some point, but as a female editor, I'm always looking for female editors and stuff, especially the things that I like. So, and nothing else. I just wanted to give credit where credit was due. She probably didn't do much of the editing of the show itself, but I do know for a fact the teasers that I saw across Facebook definitely had me wanting to watch. And again, there's just not enough women editors. Again, 6 editors. 1 was a woman. Everybody else, old white men. Then they had like 6 assistant editors, 1 woman. Everybody else guys. But yeah, all right. Well,
enough time. In the whole industries can flip, because I know for like just being a grad student in the psych department for so long, so many male professors, so many female students. It's so weird, and it's just kind of like, oh, we're about to completely flip all of social psychology.
Yeah. And it's just, yeah, it's one of those things where they've said, like, you know, how can you see yourself in certain places if you've never seen it before? And I really don't see that many women editors. The woman that did Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk, you know, she's gotten Oscar nominations and all that. I believe she did actually win the Oscar for Moonlight for editing. It was a shared win. It was her and like one other white guy or something. But I've been trying to reach out to her, but I can't find her. Like, she's just not on social media like that. Her cousin is using her name for clout. I was looking for her only to find a Twitter that said so-and-so, the cousin of so-and-so that did Moonlight. I'm like, bitch, if you don't stop coat riding your cousin, I'm trying to actually reach out to her and talk to her and like get an idea for her trajectory, what she's doing now. That's what you gotta do.
You gotta like, hey, put me in touch with your cousin, since you're not the one. Maybe she is the one.
No, she's not. But yeah, I'm still going to try to hunt her down because she don't be on social media like that, which I understand because I'm one of those types too where it's like, know me for my work, not necessarily me. That's why one of the things I've been working on and I'm going to be working on into the next week is a virtual avatar that can be used. It can be used during podcasts and Zoom calls like we've been doing. I'm going to premiere the one that I made on BlurdDot tonight and tweaking it throughout the rest of the week. And yeah, so that's actually what I'm looking forward to in the week coming up. And we've been rambling on for another, well, we were going to wrap up at 6, but the producer's like, keep it going. Just like regular Black folks, when we be on the phone, all right, girl, let me go. And then you just end up going into a whole nother conversation. Yeah. But no, for real, this time we have to go. We've got our goals for the week.
Yeah.
And we can only just go into it with renewed hope. So have a good dinner.
Yep. Light
some candles, take a bath, watch some Lovecraft Country. Come back next week with FatAsh. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to the Book Report. I'm Kenny of Nerdfect Strangers and BlurdDotRadio, and today I'm talking about Daredevil, issue 20. Before we get into that, let's just talk a little bit about Daredevil. A Marvel mainstay at the forefront of comics in terms of superheroes who are street level. He's second only to Spider-Man. And to be honest, I'm still not over the fact that we aren't getting another season of Daredevil on Netflix because it's still the best Marvel show Netflix has ever done, and probably the best Marvel show, period, that really just tries to really hone in on that Marvel Knights type of feel that's like dark and gritty, but also really fun and full of action. So, hey, Marvel, bring back Daredevil to television? On to the report. Daredevil 20 basically brings us to the finale of a 20-issue run that has seen Matt Murdock crippled, lost, a murderer. Yeah, Daredevil killed a guy in the first issue. And that's not even a spoiler. That's basically what was solicited to every comic book store to tell customers that, by the way, Daredevil killed a guy. Like, that was what they wanted people to know. that Murdoch did, and you learn that, yeah, that happened, and he's going through denial about it. He thinks he's being played. He's looking for any setup. We get some guest appearances from a couple of heroes you would obviously expect from a Daredevil story in terms of your Punishers and Elektras, but also you get some classic characters that make some mysterious. Honestly, there are a couple of returns between issue 19 and 20 that I didn't see coming so soon in this run that I'm really excited for, and I'm hoping that basically by the end of issue 20 there are a lot more questions than answers. We see Mayor Wilson Fisk, no longer the Kingpin. The Kingpin has gone straight, everybody. He's trying to get into that legal weed selling. He's standing up for his citizens as a politician. He literally goes out into the streets and helps a masked Matt Murdock, still not Daredevil, by the way, that's still not a thing, take down a villainous team of the Rhino, Crossbones, spoiler alert, so I won't mention who one of the characters is because it's kind of a big deal, and then Stiltman, who's absolutely not a big deal, but for some odd reason, he's here in this big battle in the middle of Hell's Kitchen that basically sees this elite group of twins who basically they're basically the Kingpin times two. They own television stations, they're basically just capitalism personified in terms of like greed and corporate just bad, and we're still not sure as to why they want to take full control of Hell's Kitchen from the mob, Owlsley, and there's one more like group looking to take power in Hell's Kitchen because of the fact that Fisk is no longer, Kingpin, that all of a sudden Hell's Kitchen has become ground zero for this big war here at issue 20. So by the end of the issue, the dust settles, nobody's dead, but by the end of it all, there's a reckoning coming for the Mayor, Matt Murdock, and our newest character. He's Detective Cole North, and he's basically put in charge of this superhero task force that's actually out not to help superheroes, but to capture them, because, of course, Mayor Fisk, in his infinite wisdom, finds the best way to capture mass vigilantes is by creating a task force within the New York Police Department that's pretty corrupt. And so we really see Chip Zdarsky really kind of get into the weeds in terms of police brutality, what it means to be a good cop, what it looks like to be a bad cop. The fact that marijuana legalization ends up in this comic book is still, like, pretty surprising, and I'm glad that Marvel is allowing, Marvel editors that are allowing their writers to kind of really kind of continue with what Stan Lee kind of talked about, was Marvel kind of being part of reality and seeing the world like kind of mirroring itself with that mirror aspect. So it's interesting to see how the heroes and the villains are basically having to deal with drug legalization and the fact that, cops and heroes maybe aren't the best thing for a world that's constantly changing. So, once again, my book of the week, Daredevil, give it a look. We have the first couple of trades of First Day Comics, and once again, I'm Kenny of BlurdDotRadio and Nerdfect Strangers, and thanks, have a good one. Here's a little bit messy, but we'll figure it out. Alright. And welcome back to the unnamed comic book show here for BlurdDotRadio and Nerdfect Strangers. I'm your host, Kenny, and today we are talking about one of my favorite comic books, graphic novels, whatever you want to call it, Animal Man, volumes 1, 2, and 3. They're basically 27 issues of Grant Morrison's really historic run. First off, Grant Morrison is the writer, art by a bevy of folks. Chaz Truog, Doug Hazelwood, Tom Grummett, Steve Montana, Mark McKenna, Mark Farmer, and Paris Collins. While the inside of this book is amazing, it's the covers that are done by Brian Bolin that really kind of just draw you into these comics. I mean, every cover, and thankfully the trades actually keep those covers intact for each issue. So you see Brian Bolin's just really cool artwork that just kind of leads you into the Animal Man series. Grant Morrison's Animal Man is a timeless piece of work, in my opinion. It's a comic that really subverts that 80s genre that was very much dark, gritty, really devoid of hope, really violent. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of my favorite stories kind of come from that era in terms of like the Frank Miller stuff we get, anything Alan Moore wrote. The list kind of goes on. I mean, Chuck Dixon, we get a lot of really interesting stories, but they all kind of come to one theme, and it's really centered around this idea of hopelessness. And what we get here with Grant Morrison's Animal Man is basically a realignment of the character for Buddy Baker, as we find him not just as a hero, but as an animal rights activist. So he's in his 30s, he's trying to figure out what he wants to do in life, and he realizes that, it's time for Buddy Baker to be a full-time superhero. We also, as opposed to many of the other heroes we see through any comic book, hi bud, here's, I guess you can call me Animal Man myself because the cat just kind of came through. But since we're on the idea of Animal Man, basically Buddy Baker it has his powers, and he's part-time in it. Well, not even part-time in it. He was barely doing it as a superhero. But now he wants to fully join the Justice League, become a hero, and he does that. But what ensues throughout the next 3 volumes is Buddy Baker essentially finding himself and finding some interesting villains and teaming up with some pretty cool heroes you probably only really see on like Justice League Unlimited, which shout out to B'wana Beast and Vixen and Martian Manhunter, who all show up in random issues. There's a clear plot that Grant Morrison's going through that I don't want to give away, because the really cool part of the story is that each issue of Grant Morrison's run, yes sir, he also wants you to pay attention to the sub-stories and the subplots in the background, because small characters become major characters and you don't realize it. So there's a lot going on, and at times the story can get a bit preachy because Animal Man is a vegetarian, and that becomes a whole thing. And it kind of aligns with its writer, Grant Morrison, who he himself is a vegetarian. I'm not sure if he's still a member of PETA and all that, but all these things of activism in the 80s and environmentalism become key issues to Animal Man and to that time in the 80s. And honestly, here in 2020, some of the issues that Grant Morrison speaks on, and those issues kind of still speak to what's going on in our society today. So you really get a sense that Grant Morrison really had his own idea for the character Buddy Baker, and it's tremendous. The MVP, though, of the story of the entire run is Mirror Master, who essentially at the beginning of the story was set to assassinate Buddy and his family, because I think I'm not sure, the cat interrupted me when I was getting to the point that Buddy Baker has a family. And so not only do we see Buddy Baker the superhero, this is also about Buddy Baker, the father, the husband, trying to do his best to kind of balance that home life and that hero life. And you see that they clash early and often with some dark results, but also some beautiful moments as well. So Mirror Master comes into the story with with Buddy, and it becomes this whole ridiculous thing where Mirror Master just kind of completely shit talks Buddy Baker through different points of the story, and also ends up helping Buddy at one of the pinnacles, the big parts of the story, the climax, as one would say. I really enjoy the story. There's nothing more I can say about it. The best is A New Science of Life, and this is basically where Buddy takes a handful of peyote, and the art becomes just this next level thing of colors and shapes and stars, and next thing you know, the fourth wall is completely broken, and Buddy Baker looks at you, the reader, and has this whole epiphany that he's just a character in the story, which leads us to like this even bigger just kind of scope of breaking the fourth wall that even Deadpool would be a little bit jealous of, where Animal Man meets his writer, and they have this whole just existential conversation, and it all comes back to the Coyote Gospel, which is my second favorite issue in this book, where you kind of see how a coyote and a man are hunting, well, one's hunting one. I won't tell you who is hunting whom, but it becomes this thing of sacrificing one's life for the greater good, and just the idea of grieving and loss. There's so many different elements that Grant Morrison has at play throughout the entire 27 issues of Animal Man that it becomes just this great vehicle, timeless comic, where in the midst of all things going on around you, it's one of my favorite books to just pull out when I'm feeling kind of lost, and I just need something just to kind of like reconfirm that, things around me are crazy, but they're not as crazy as they could be, and there's always hope. There's always a light there, even when we don't truly feel it. So check out Animal Man Volumes 1, 2, and 3. There's actually a newer edition out as well that I think is hardcover, and I should know this. I work at First Day Comics, where you can actually pick this up. I definitely know we have a hardcover because I have one in the box for myself. So if you want to check out Iron Man, I've been playing an Avengers video game, and I'm currently playing as Iron Man. So Iron Man's been in my mind because I want to max out some of his skills, and I want some of his armors. So Iron Man has been in my mind most of this morning. But not Iron Man, Animal Man's Volumes 1, 2, and 3 by Grant Morrison. Pick it up. One of my favorite books of all time. Take it easy. You all have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Put on a mask. Put it over your nose, please. And have a good one. I love you. Kenny out, BlurdDotRadio, and Nerdfect Strangers. Peace.
We're going to make our versatility chili.
Is that light bothering you?
Black Ramsey and his mother. What?